coffee exporter, which is
Brazil.
Brazil. The Vietnamese would argue, but
Yep.
of course that's Brazil. And we were talking about copper, for example. That's a big
Yep.
winner. Reason why Chile, for example, is doing very well. Trade surplus, I think, for the most part of 2014, including the nation where sheep outnumber people, which is
Sorry.
New Zealand.
New Zealand,
New
yes.
Zealand, and the world's largest.
What else is there? Why are they still at the bottom, really?
Yeah, so it's a first part. This is the printout. It's on the website. We are looking at perhaps two. In fact, the article ends by saying it this way: stay tuned for the biggest losers for the year on currency. So.
Sure.
Great piece. It's on TradeBanq.com. Very straightforward top if you go online.
Yeah, you talked briefly about the expected losers this year. What else?
Takeaway also from this is that as you look at current account surpluses, that's a big part of the balance of payments equation here. That puts upward pressure. Despite the falling oil prices, it's still expected to do quite well on this measure. But again, all things equal, I think the top 15 that we saw earlier, are getting a lift from a falling currency. Even Norway, which is Western Europe's only major oil exporter. It's about currency. I would like to add that, because certainly with a drop in the euro expected to persist this year, perhaps falling to parity, that's really helping a lot of these countries in Western Europe. I mean, not only Germany. Let me get this number. I think in Europe you have 8 out of the 50, because it's about what? It's about crude oil, copper, computers, and cars. In Europe, current account, a trade surplus of this amount tells you a lot, of course, on how dependent the economy is. Now, let's talk about Europe. Yeah, look at that, $7.6 billion. For an economy, I know it's big, but for an economy the size of only South Korea's, for you to register, it registers 15% of its GDP. It's down to 1%. That's the forecast. Back to South Korea, all the companies that depend on those two big conglomerates here. Now, oil exporters generally are expected not to do as well. I mean, Saudi, for example, usually as it normally does. And of course, we all talk about cars and electronics when it comes to South Korea, the usual names, Samsung, Hyundai, and Korea, towards, I think, it should be towards the second half of the list there, is expected to do twice as good. That said, Singapore, where labor isn't exactly cheap, tops the list because of it being a global trading hub. Now, in fact, in Asia, 11 out of the 13 countries included in this survey, given the low labor costs, are expected to export more than the percentage of their own, excuse me, GDP. Singapore, topping the list here of close to 20% of countries. 36 are expected to post a current account surplus. That's what we are using when you look at this measure as a percent.
Got a big list there, too.
Yeah, it's a fairly long list, and I guess that's why trade was really why, a lot of the civilizations in the past, really thrived when they were by these waterways, right? I mean, that's a whole other thing altogether, but certainly you look at trade activity, that is a key, not everything, a key determinant on, just how much the economy will do or won't do well. So, okay, across 75